J.J. Watt's headed to the Cardinals. Hi, welcome to Sports Banner. I'm Calvin. I'm here with Luca, and we're going to tell you everything we know about that deal.
Yeah.
So, the first thing I'm going to talk about is J.J. Watt obviously going to the Cardinals. We did not hear, or at least I did not hear a single thing that would suggest that he was considering the Cardinals. That was a complete, just random choice from like an outside view, but looking at it, it makes sense. The Cardinals, they have a really good quarterback, and they seem to have a decent team around him as well. So it looks like they can be contenders. I think they underperformed this year, but with J.J. Watt and maybe a couple of other additions, they could be a real big contender. One thing to keep in mind is that now he's gone from the AFC to the NFC, so he's having essentially a whole new setup of opponents. So obviously he plays the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers twice a year. And one of those key matchups is the Seahawks. Russell Wilson's already been complaining about too much pressure, and now he's going to have to go against Aaron Donald twice a year and J.J. Watt twice a year. So it looks like things aren't going to be getting much easier for him.
Yeah.
But next season he gets to play against the Packers, the Vikings, Texans, his old team, Colts and Panthers, and then the Bears, Titans, Jaguars, Cowboys, and Lions. So there's a lot of good-sounding matchups in there that we might see a bit of a show from him. I'm assuming that Deshaun Watson's going to be gone from the Texans by the time next season rolls around, so maybe we won't see Watt versus Deshaun. So that's a shame. But there's a couple of other matchups that could prove nice in there.
Yeah.
You got anything, Luca?
Yeah, I have a little bit. So I want to get this out of the way. Cardinals fans are ecstatic that this is happening. I was trying to look around to see if there was any talks of him going to the Cardinals. And 122 days ago, on the Arizona Cardinals Reddit page, someone said that the Texans, J.J. Watt, was in a trade deal for the Cardinals. The Cardinals wanted him for a long time, and a bunch of Cardinals fans were saying that's not going to happen, it'll never happen. Now if you check the Reddit right now, everyone's going crazy about it and they're so happy. And shout out to a USA Today affiliated website called CardsWire. They posted an article a couple days ago that J.J. Watt should come over there, so they called it pretty right. This is how I look at it. Is he going to make a big impact at this team? Looking at the numbers for some of the defensive ends there, like Zach Allen, he had 20 solo tackles and 2 sacks. Jordan Phillips had 10 solo tackles, 2 sacks. Angelo Jackins had 15 solo tackles. This is all from last season. J.J. Watt had 36 solo tackles and 5 sacks. I think he's going to make quite an impact. This is good for him. He's got a bunch of young players around him that he can mentor, and he can be sort of the bad cop to Coach Cliff's good cop. That's his name, right? The Cardinals coach.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury. Because he's supposed to be like a really laid-back, nice guy, but if someone needs to rip into these players, Watt can definitely do that. I think he's going to be the leader of this team. And it's just, I think it's a good deal. If you look at some of the losses the Cardinals had last season, like the Detroit game where they lost 26-23, or I think the best example, the Patriots game where they lost 2017. If you got Watt on your team, you might have ended up winning those games. You could have ended up going to the playoffs last season. I think for a 2-year contract, this is good. I think this is very good for the Cardinals. I think the only negative is injuries. That's about it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. One thing I do want to mention is that there were a lot of options he had where if he went there and he won, well, let's just say he won a Super Bowl, a lot of people would say, oh, J.J. Watt won because he was with this team. But this is one of the teams, the Cardinals are one of the teams where if they win a Super Bowl or something of like that, people are going to say, oh, the Cardinals won because of J.J. Watt. This is a team where he's not going there because they have success. He's going there to make them successful. And I think that's I think that was a big factor in not choosing a Green Bay or a Bills. I think he wanted somewhere that he could prove himself even at his age.
Yeah. I definitely agree. And I think we have to sort of give him some respect for that if it works out. This could be a train wreck. I hope not. I really hope this works out. And so, yeah, this is going to be an exciting season for sure.
So going back to the opponents that he has next year, the one thing I want to talk about is the Packers. That'll be a very interesting game because obviously Aaron Rodgers had an MVP season this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people have said that it's because he didn't really play too many bad teams. You know, he was carried by his schedule, which you can agree with that or not. That's up to you. But I think this will be a very interesting game to watch. I think that'll be one of the better ones in the season, as well as the Dallas Cowboys. They play in Dallas against probably Dak Prescott. That would be one great game, in my opinion. I think that has a lot of potential to be one of the better games next season. Dak versus JJ. Honestly, I'm kind of excited to see how Kyler Murray does next season. I'm not the hugest fan of him. I do like the Oklahoma quarterbacks, but I've never been the hugest fan of Kyler. But I think he has a very big chance to really come into his own next season.
Yeah, this could definitely be a breakout season for him and a lot of players on that team. So
now, one thing that I don't get is how this is going to fit into the Cardinals' cap space. Because reports seem to say that they don't really have a lot of space to work with. And J.J. Watt's contract is for $31 million over 2 years, so an average of $16 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know how they're going to fit that and other players. They might have to make some cuts. Not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know this seems to be their final piece that they're putting in together. They're going to have to hope that this carries them because they don't really have much to work with outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
Estimates for their cap space seem to be somewhere in the 12 million to 20 million range. So at best, they have another couple million to work with. At worst, they're a little bit over.
Mm-hmm.
But they should... They don't seem to be making any more signings. This seems like this is their big money signing, and they're going to take this team and try and make it as far as they can. And, I mean, like you said, there were a lot of games last season where if they had that little bit of a difference, they could have won. So J.J. Watt might be the difference between a playoff team and a non-playoff team.
Definitely. And I want to sort of switch the conversation right quick. But shout out to J.J. Watt for those awesome tweets. I don't own a bike. Stop. And then that picture, source me. That was great. I loved it.
Yeah, this morning I woke up and I saw all over social media. It's like, oh, J.J. Watt's Peloton profile says that he's going to Cleveland, Green Bay, or I think it was Buffalo. And it was just...
Why would he even put that in his Peloton bike, though?
Yeah, exactly. Of all the things that we're looking at, we look at the Peloton bike. And I'll admit, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, wow, he's being, funny, oh, he's going to put it on his Peloton profile. But then, you realize it's fake, and looking at it a little bit closer, yeah, it makes sense. He still had a Texans profile pic in that in his profile there. And why would he put that on his Peloton account? That doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, it was obviously just a funny guy, but I'll admit I was kind of sold on it for a second there. But yeah, you got anything else to add?
Not really. I mean, I would have taken him at the Browns, honestly, but I'm glad he went to the Cardinals over Green Bay or something like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, of all the teams that he could have gone to, this is probably one of the better ones for him.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the Cardinals were pretty close to being a great team, and they have... It seems enough cap space for him. So it seems like they are going to be the fit. A lot of other teams, they either didn't have the cap space or maybe it wasn't the exact kind of location that he wanted. So it seems like he's going to like this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I think that's all we got for today. Thank you for tuning into Sports Banner, and we will see you next week.
See ya.